Ladies and gentlemen, would you believe it if I told you that the richest man in the world and the head of the world's top AI company are engaged in a muddy legal battle, betting over $150 billion and the very future of humanity? This isn't just a simple corporate dispute or a typical fight over money. It is a brutal, colossal war over the power of cutting-edge technology that will control the future of mankind. Today, we are going to dig deep into the epic lawsuit between Sam Altman, the father of ChatGPT, and Elon Musk of Tesla, who brought him to court, as well as the dark horse companies that are shaking up the global landscape by exploiting their rift. The story I am about to tell you is a record of the hottest, most secretive, and most shocking power struggle currently unfolding in the tech industry. Let's turn the clock back to 2015. Elon Musk and Sam Altman joined forces under the noble and grand goal of developing safe AI for the advancement of humanity. The idea was to prevent specific massive corporations from monopolizing AI technology, democratize it, and use it for the universal benefit of mankind. That is why they named it OpenAI, symbolizing the intent to keep everything open. It is said that Musk himself was the one who came up with this name. In the early days, Musk's passion was extraordinary. Among a total of 11 co-founders, which included top-tier AI experts of the time like Ilya Sutskever and Greg Brockman, Musk readily donated about $38 million, nearly 80% of the initial funding. Considering that the combined donations of the other members were $90 million, it was an overwhelming contribution. Born in 1985, Altman is said to have followed Musk, born in 1971, almost like a hero. However, their honeymoon phase, built on the promise to save humanity, did not last long. The real problem was money. Developing large language models required astronomical funds and computing resources that far exceeded initial expectations. Realizing that Musk's donations alone would fall hopelessly short, the management team began discussing transitioning the company into a for-profit entity in 2017 to attract outside investment. This is exactly where the fatal fracture occurred. Instead of simply agreeing to the for-profit transition, Musk laid down one strict condition. He demanded that he own the majority of the shares, seize control of the board, and become the CEO himself to completely control the company. He even pushed forward a plan to raise funds utilizing Tesla, but the existing management thought differently. They flatly rejected Musk's proposal, arguing that an individual monopolizing the massive power of AI went entirely against OpenAI's original founding purpose. Extremely furious that his control was denied, Musk resigned from the board in early 2018, disposed of all his shares, and cut off his financial support. The ostensible reason was a conflict of interest with Tesla's autonomous driving AI development. But the consensus in the industry was that it was a backlash against being pushed out of the power struggle. Why was Musk so obsessed with control? Experts trace the reason back to a terrible trauma he experienced in the early 2000s. In 1999, Musk founded an online bank called X.com, which later merged 50-50 with a rival company called Confinity, created by Peter Thiel. This is the company we now know as PayPal. As the CEO in the early days of the merger, Musk faced internal backlash for his dogmatic actions, such as trying to change the service name to his preferred X.com. Then, while Musk boarded a plane for his honeymoon, board members, including Peter Thiel, held a secret meeting and ousted him from the CEO position. After that shocking betrayal, where he became unemployed the moment he stepped off the plane, Musk developed an extreme aversion to situations where he couldn't completely control an organization. After Musk left, Sam Altman took the CEO position of OpenAI in 2019 and transitioned the company into a capped profit entity for the public good. He then secured a massive investment of about $13 billion from Microsoft, creating the ChatGPT myth we see today. But in 2024, the silent Musk suddenly drew his sword. He filed a lawsuit against Altman and Greg Brockman. His justification is as follows. OpenAI was a charity project that started with my name and idea, but Altman betrayed me by abandoning the nonprofit principle and turning it into a greedy for-profit corporation. He stole my asset. Musk demanded the court not only dismiss Altman, but also confiscate the ill-gotten gains amounting to roughly $134 billion and return them to the OpenAI nonprofit foundation. OpenAI finds this absurd. They argue, how can he say this now when Musk himself directed the transition to a for-profit model in 2017? OpenAI's lawyers point out that it makes no sense for Musk, who left the board in 2018, to stay quiet for 6 years and only claim betrayal after ChatGPT became a massive success. Ultimately, they argue this lawsuit is merely baseless harassment and jealousy aimed at promoting his newly established for-profit AI company, XAI, and hindering a competitor. In fact, the two have crossed the point of no return, using the media and social networks to hurl raw insults at each other, calling one another a jerk and a scammer who lies like he breathes. Experts believe Musk is at a legal disadvantage. Changes in corporate structure often fall under the discretion of management, and it is hard to view Musk as a victim who suffered direct economic damage. One prediction market platform even estimated Musk's chances of winning at just 32%. However, even if Musk loses the lawsuit, he has nothing to lose. The trial process has already exposed the secretive collaboration between OpenAI and Microsoft, as well as internal affairs, effectively handing high-level intel to competitors for free and severely damaging OpenAI's public interest image. On the other hand, OpenAI is on the verge of losing too much in this lawsuit. Their IPO, originally targeted for the end of this year, has faced massive setbacks. No investor wants to put money into a company carrying a $150 billion litigation risk. If the court points out a violation of non-profit principles, the IPO itself could be canceled, or their profit structure might have to be completely overhauled. In the worst-case scenario, the core AI source code they have kept tightly hidden could be forcibly revealed to the world. But OpenAI's real crisis isn't just the external lawsuit. On the outside, it looks like an AI empire, but inside it is bleeding from astronomical deficits. According to the Wall Street Journal, OpenAI's estimated loss for this year alone is projected to reach $17 billion. That is 3 times the amount from last year. The biggest cause of this deficit is the unimaginably high computing cost required to run their AI models. Unable to bear the costs, OpenAI has recently been shutting down its core services one after another. Do you remember Sora, the ultra-high-definition video generation AI that shocked the world earlier this year? Sora cost up to $15 million a day to operate, but brought in only $2.1 million in revenue. Ultimately unable to handle the massive deficit, OpenAI abruptly shut down the Sora service in March. As a result, the collaborative project of the century with Disney, which was planned to integrate Sora, naturally fell apart. That is not all. Instant Checkout, an innovative shopping feature designed to handle everything from product search to payment in one go in partnership with Walmart, was also scrapped due to overwhelming operational costs and integration difficulties. Now, OpenAI is pivoting its strategy, boldly discarding unprofitable consumer-facing services to go all in on highly lucrative B2B transactions and coding development businesses. Even more painful is the severe brain drain. Out of the initial 11 co-founders, only 2 remain at OpenAI today: Sam Altman and Greg Brockman, the subjects of the lawsuit. The rest have all moved to competitors or started new startups. Just last month, 3 key executives left the company overnight. Former employees are fiercely criticizing OpenAI, claiming the company is blinded by product launches and money-making rather than the safety of humanity. With the CFO warning that they might not even be able to pay the down payment for data centers if revenue growth doesn't accelerate. Yet Sam Altman is not stopping. Calling for a $1 trillion infrastructure build-out, he recently raised an additional $12 billion and is expanding his ambitions even further, aiming to launch an AI smartphone by 2028. As the apex predators shake from lawsuits and internal strife, a dark horse is completely overturning the market landscape. That is Anthropic. Founded by siblings Dario and Daniela Amode, who were originally key talents leading the development of GPT-2 and GPT-3 at OpenAI. But in 2021, when Altman brought in massive capital from Microsoft and turned towards commercialism, They rebelled, packed their bags, and left with 7 colleagues. They had already seen through and rejected the corruption of OpenAI, which Elon Musk is currently arguing in court 5 years ago. Anthropic positioned itself as the cleanest AI company, strictly adhering to ethics and morality by explicitly stating an AI constitution on its website. And this strategy worked perfectly. Currently, Anthropic's user base is around 1 million, which is significantly smaller than OpenAI's 9 million or Google's 7.5 million. However, according to Counterpoint Research, Anthropic secured the #1 spot in the enterprise AI market with a 31.4% market share based on Q1 revenue this year. The average monthly revenue per user is also overwhelmingly #1 at $16.20. They have completely dominated the so-called expert market that spends big money. The capabilities of Anthropic's AI model, Claude, have already reached a level that inspires fear beyond wonder. In these operations, Claude completed all decision-making, from target acquisition to completion, in just 11 minutes and 23 seconds. The AI flawlessly analyzed vast amounts of satellite intel and data, a task that would have taken 300 human personnel 100 days to complete, in a mere 90 minutes. The nature of war has been completely altered by an AI commander. However, Anthropic's CEO Dario Amodei drew a line, stating they cannot recklessly provide their AI for autonomous lethal weapons or mass surveillance without human oversight. A head-on collision began with the U.S. Department of Defense, the so-called Department of War, which demands endless resources and control in the name of national security. The U.S. Secretary of Defense fiercely criticized Amodei as ideologically insane, and an unprecedented event occurred where Anthropic, a top-tier domestic tech company, was placed on a supply chain risk list, essentially a blacklist. President Trump also ordered all federal agencies to completely halt the use of Anthropic's technology. But a stunning twist happens here. Last month, Anthropic announced Claude Mythos, a white-hat hacker AI model that autonomously identifies vulnerabilities in corporate software and even writes code to attack them. This AI shocked the world by finding a fatal system flaw in an operating system called OpenBSD that no human had discovered in 27 years, and even designed an infiltration route on its own. It was a technology with immense destructive power that could paralyze global security if misused. Concerned about side effects, Anthropic selectively offered a pilot service to only a very small number of government agencies and financial institutions. Surprisingly, the U.S. National Security Agency, NSA, was included on that list. The upper institution, the Department of Defense, blacklisted Anthropic. But the intelligence agency is secretly using its overwhelming technology. An ironic situation. The duality of power, trying to control it on the surface while being unable to give up its might, is laid bare. The ripples caused by Anthropic's Claude are not limited to the battlefield. Right in the middle of Silicon Valley, a newly coined term called SaaS-pocalypse is trending, spreading fear. A portmanteau of software as a service, SaaS, and apocalypse. This term describes the event earlier this year when the stock prices of global software companies like Salesforce and ServiceNow plummeted by 20–30% in just a few days. As Claude's AI agents, like Claude Code or Claude Cowork, directly connect to companies' APIs and handle all the tasks customers want, people no longer feel the need to pay expensive subscription fees to use individual software. AI is literally swallowing up the existing software industry ecosystem. Some raise the AI bubble theory regarding this phenomenon. But the flow of money doesn't lie. The Q1 net income growth rate of the Magnificent Seven tech companies, excluding NVIDIA, reached a staggering 57%. This is 3 times higher than the initial estimate of 18% and overwhelmingly surpasses the 16% average growth rate of the remaining S&P 500 companies. The fact that they are making such massive profits, even after pouring in tremendous infrastructure investment costs, proves that AI is by no means a temporary fad or bubble, but a colossal reality of our time. Elon Musk and Sam Altman fighting over hundreds of billions of dollars, honor, and control. OpenAI precariously speeding ahead amidst internal deficits and brain drain. And Anthropic, using morality and ethics as a weapon, swallowing up military security and software ecosystems while seizing true power. We are now right in the middle of the greatest hegemonic war in history, fighting over who will first and most perfectly command this new intelligence that has escaped human control. Who will be the ultimate victor in this gray battlefield and become the protagonist to design the future of humanity? And what must we prepare in the face of this massive wave? Hit subscribe and join us here at GNow. We'll keep watching the future unfold together. See you in the next video.